Hello, everybody. I'm Matt Coday, president and founder of Oil and Gas Workers Association. You can find us online at OGWAUSA.com. And you see that on your screen, I have a very special guest with us today, Sandy Smith, who ran for Congress in North Carolina's first congressional district in last race and got awfully close. Sandy Smith, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Matt. It's great to be here.
Man, we're excited for you to be here. Look, tell us a little bit about your last race. What went right? What went wrong? How far did you move the needle in that one?
Well, I'll tell you, I actually have ran twice. And in 2020, I ran in a D30 district, and I swung the district 25 points to the right, something that no Republican has ever done. And then in 2022, we had redistricting. And we were set, the district should have been a Republican-leaning district. At the 11th hour, the Democrat judges decided to gerrymander the district, and they flipped it from being an R district to an R district to a D district. And after Nancy Pelosi spent over $6 million against me, I came within 12,000 votes. Had we flipped 6,000 votes, I would be your sitting congresswoman, and they had to spend $6 million against me and still overperformed by 4 points.
So wait a minute, Nancy Pelosi doesn't like you?
No, she made me one of her #1 targets in 2022, and they have already set their sights on me as well because they know they can't stop me, and I am their biggest threat.
You are a fire whenever you're on stage, whenever you give a speech. It's just you're like an electric vehicle, hard to put out, right?
So hold up, I'm not an electric vehicle.
No. I'm just talking about the fire that you carry, right? Like the passion you have for this country and for American workers and families. We were so proud to endorse you last cycle. Do you still love American oil and gas workers?
Absolutely, 100%. It was an absolute honor to have your endorsement last cycle. So I cannot say enough good things. We have to make sure we're fighting for energy independence and for our oil and gas families.
You know, and the man that you ran against, Don Davis, who's now a congressman, he is one of the ones who supported the reintroduction of the Green New Deal by Ed Markey and some other members of Congress. Why would Don Davis support this Green New Deal?
Well, because he's a bought and paid for rubber stamp Nancy Pelosi minion. That's exactly what he is. I like to call him Do Nothing Don. He votes against families. He votes against our energy. He votes against anything that's good for America. If Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries doesn't give him the okay, he has to vote right with them.
Little pets on a leash. You're right. And you know, some people had called him a centrist and talked about his anti-abortion votes. And that's certainly a good thing. But whenever you talk about the Green New Deal, that's just something that's so extreme.
Hold up, he voted against families. He's okay with them mutilating children. He's okay with abortions on demand. He voted with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the crew. So that is a misconception. It's a lie, if you will. He parades around that he is a godly man because he is a pastor or minister at his church, which he's, you know, a layman's minister. Let's be true what it is. And, you know, you cannot be a man of God and then condone and say it's okay to kill babies on demand, period.
Man, I'm so glad you brought that up. In the Senate race when Herschel Walker was running against Warnock, I just thought that Margaret Sanger, the co-founder of Planned Parenthood, must be smiling up from hell that somehow in this day and age, there's a black pastor who is encouraging black women to murder their own babies. What do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely disgusting, and it's shameful that folks in their own community are saying it's okay to murder, you know, innocent black babies. The biggest killer of Black Americans is abortion. And nobody wants to talk about that. So, you know, we are so thankful that the Supreme Court overruled Roe versus Wade, and, you know, it is now a state issue. And we pray every day that, you know, these states see the light and shift towards the right and do what's right.
You're absolutely right. And some people do not get, or maybe just haven't done enough research to find out how the issues are connected. We keep hearing people talk about climate change, how it's going to kill people, how black and brown people are disproportionately impacted. We hear how American oil and gas jobs, well, it's killing black and brown people. I submit to you, and I think you would agree. Has Planned Parenthood murdered more black people than climate change will ever kill?
Well, first of all, I didn't know we were going to be talking about religion today, and that's exactly what this climate change hoax is. It's their religion. And no, it has not. We've had more babies killed through abortion and Planned Parenthood over the years. And you know what? You know what would save those babies? Oil and gas, being able to get to a job, being able to drive their car, being able to pay less for groceries at the store because we have reliable energy and we're energy independent. But what are those details? But let's address the elephant in the room, and that is climate change is their religion and is a hoax. And that is what we need to make sure we're aware of, and we know what their plan is down the road. I don't know if you know about the potential presidential emergency order that they're talking about issuing for the climate crisis that we have. Folks don't understand that will cripple our country. They want to shut down production. They want to shut down exploration. They want to shut down exportation of our oil. It's horrible.
You're absolutely right, boy. And that's the thing, is we could go on and on and on about this. It's horrible. It crushes American workers and families whenever we hinder USA oil and gas production. And last week, I believe it was, there was an op-ed published in North Carolina by two North Carolina representatives that said they did not want the MVP pipeline Southgate extension delivering reliable, affordable Marcellus Shale natural gas to North Carolina because they were afraid of climate change. Talk about that.
Well, it's absolutely ridiculous. These folks, instead of being able to bring good paying jobs by extending that pipeline through North Carolina, making us energy reliant on ourselves. So we've already had a terrorist attack on our gas grid here. And why would we not want to make sure we have a backup in case that happens again? But you know what these crazies are more focused on? They would rather bring a casino here to North Carolina than bring gas and provide to the community that way. I mean, it's crazy.
Also, I submit to you, if there are no good paying jobs for Americans, and I'm talking specifically American oil and gas jobs, nobody has money to spend at casinos. Come on.
Exactly. And those casino jobs, let's just face it, those are just slightly above minimum wage, if not at minimum wage type jobs. Very few of them are seriously good paying jobs. But I'll tell you what, you know who is good paying jobs is our oil and gas. People don't have a clue who are not in the industry how good these jobs are and how important they are to our community. We saw when they shut down the other pipeline how it caused towns to completely evaporate because now they didn't have these jobs, and now these people are now dependent on the government, and that's shameful. We have the ability to do it. Why are they holding us back?
You're absolutely right. And under President Trump's administration, we were drilling at a lot higher pace. There were a lot more Americans working. Gas prices were lower. Grocery prices were lower. Home utility costs were lower. Those are some of the
costs were lower. People don't think about farming costs were lower. When the farmers can't afford the gas, they can't plant. And that means we don't have any food in our stores. Not to mention the truckers, which you're a former trucker, know how expensive it is to commute, to transport those vegetables and everything to our stores. So, I mean, it's really the circle of life, and they just want to take a sledgehammer to it.
You're absolutely right. And so the Biden administration's anti-American oil and gas workers policies have created the problems we have. How do you, as a congresswoman, help turn that around?
Well, first of all, we have to take back the House and the Senate and the White House in 2024. That's what we have to do. We cannot settle for anything less than that. We can see right now what happens when we don't have control of the different chambers. At that point, then we can open our pipelines back up. We can, get exploration going. We can get our export gas program going again. We can become energy independent. And you know what happens when we're energy independent is we are a safer country, and the world is a safer place as well.
You're absolutely right. And we've seen the failures of anti-oil and gas policy, specifically in California, which just this week turned back on fossil fuel powered generating so that they could power their power grid. Think about a world where everybody has an EV. What does that world look like with the power grid problems we already have?
Well, before, I think there's like 1,500 charging stations throughout the country right now. And just imagine when we have these rolling blackouts because our electrical grid cannot handle the demand as it is. Could you imagine when they shift everybody over to an EV car? We would get places faster walking. Might as well go back to horse and buggy, really.
Right, like, honey, I'm on my way home. I'll be there soon. I'm just going to stop and charge my car for 3 hours.
Well, yeah, but then you see these people that wait in line. You have to wait in line for an hour and a half to get to a charging station. Then you're only allowed to charge your vehicle for 15 minutes and you're only getting a 40% charge. And then you're going to have to go down the road just a little bit and do the whole thing over. It takes, a 3-hour journey and turns it into an 8-hour journey. And that's, to me, that's not efficient. And that's not productive. And that's what we need to do. We need something that is efficient, productive, and economical. And it's unfortunate it's not there at this point. We need to stick with our fossil fuels and continue with our all the good stuff.
I always have one simple question is, why would we kill American oil and gas jobs whenever the oil and natural gas that we produce right here in the United States is far more environmentally conscious than that produced in foreign countries?
Absolutely. It just drives me bonkers. We'll actually go and buy oil overseas from countries that actually hate us and that despise us, and we're funding their terrorist organizations by buying their fuel instead of buying it and pumping it here in the States and producing our own fuel. It's crazy. It just makes it drives you insane because it's like, what is their objective? Are they seriously trying to make America a third world country? We know that they have lost their marbles. That's for sure.
Certainly insane. These policies that crush American workers and families and make us dependent upon foreign oil, hurting every single American. Look, tell everybody where they can find your campaign. Tell us where they can find your website and your socials.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm on all social media platforms at Sandy Smith NC, and you can go straight to my website, sandysmithnc.com. We'd love for you to read about the policies that I support and my platform. And more importantly, we would love your support and make a small donation. I'll tell you, I have more individual donors than anyone running in the 1st Congressional District, including Don Davis, my opponent. The thing is, what's funding Don Davis is these PAC groups. So what we have to do as patriots, we have to come together and fight it because we don't have those PAC groups. We need all the small dollar donors. And to me, they're more important than any PAC group could ever be.
Folks, you heard her right there, sandysmithnc.com. You want to support a badass patriot who loves American oil and gas workers and is running for Congress. That's where you find her, is sandysmithnc.com. And of course, you're on all the socials. God, Sandy, it's always great to talk with you. Always.
It is always great to talk to you. We love what you guys do. Keep fighting. I'm not giving up on you guys. We're going to get to Washington and we're going to get our energy flowing.
We appreciate you, Sandy. And folks, we appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Oil and Gas Workers Association podcast. Of course, you can find us online at OGWAUSA.com. We're fighting for American workers and families. God bless you all.
God bless you guys.